Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Solo Legion, and up here today with my first impressions of Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynched. I apologise if you hear a noise in the background, the fans on that. Sorry if the quality isn't as good. I'm recording on my tablet, not my phone. I don't have my phone on me at the moment, it's not working, so but I thought I'd do a first impressions, almost like a first review, if you will. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This one kind of took me by surprise because, I think Black Flag is considered to be the fan favourite of Assassin's Creed gaming. I've got a sort of love-hate relationship with Assassin's Creed, right? I've played a majority of them, but I haven't played every single one. I'm slowly working my way through them. I'm not really playing them in any particular order, because I feel like with Assassin's Creed game, other than 1, 2 and 3, they all sort of, other than the future stuff, they don't really link together, and we'll get to that in a minute because Black Flag has done a big improvement. But in Black Flag again was considered to be the the fan favourite. Many people thought this originally was planned as a pirate game, and then they just chucked in Assassin's Creed in there to try and bump up sales. But I mean, on the original anyway. But I'll be honest, I played the original back in the day on the Xbox 360, I think. I never beat it. I probably put a good 10-15 hours into the game before I decided to give up on it. I think I struggled a little bit with the naval combat. Now, coming off of the last Assassin's Creed game that I played, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, which, I'll be honest with you, I struggled with that one a little bit, I will be honest. It was not a remaster, it was, a little bit on the could have been better side. Now, Resynced, I wouldn't really consider a remaster. I would say this is like a remake, if you will. Kind of like a hybrid, really. It is a remaster, because it's pretty much almost the same game, but it isn't. Like I said, I think graphically it is beautiful. It's a beautiful game. The original was still a very good looking game. I think, it gives you the option to play fidelity mode or performance mode. I chose performance mode, which means 60 FPS, but graphically it's not as good if you play in fidelity mode. I've not done a side-by-side comparison, but I'll be honest, playing it in performance mode, no problems whatsoever, and the graphics look pretty damn good still. I think whenever a game gives me the option of performance or graphic mode, I tend to go for performance, unless it's a massive downgrade. I think one game that really was a massive downgrade if you played in performance was Serious Sam 4. Playing that in performance mode was piss poor. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, it runs pretty well. Like I said, I can't really say how well it runs and how good it looks differently on fidelity mode. I have no intention of trying out fidelity mode. Fidelity mode is basically graphic mode. It seems like a lot of the big games now do that with modern systems. They give you the option of one or the other. It would be nice if you could just have one, both, but what can you do, right? What can you do? You can't have it all. So, like I said, I've put about 5.5 hours into the game now. I want to start off by saying it is a massive improvement. There are no more future cutscenes. Yes, that is one thing I didn't really like about some of the older Assassin's Creed games, is those future moments when you're in the future, or the present time, if you will. And to me, that kind of ruins the experience. You're meant to be exploring. I understand the animus and all of this end of the world shit that's happening in the modern day universe, but honestly, I couldn't give two shits. But I've heard that in this one, it doesn't do that. I believe that as you progress onto the game, those moments that would have been the future missions, I think have been replaced by either cutscenes or memory or mini missions or something like, I don't know. I've heard that, you know, there is some end game content that adds new stuff to the game. So there are a lot of differences in this game. The first is the combat. I'm going to start off by saying that I do prefer the older Assassin's Creed combat, but I don't hate the modern stuff. I'll be honest, this game plays very much, excuse me, very much like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, if I'm going to be honest with you. It plays more like Assassin's Creed Odyssey than, say, Valhalla. So you have your main attack. You know, your hidden blade is only for assassination. You can now crouch, you can put your hood and down up. I don't know what purpose that serves. So when you're in combat, you have your main melee attack, you have a parry, which does take a little bit of getting used to. It's not like previous Assassin's older ones where you tap it as they're swinging. This one, they sparkle, and then you know, if you tap it at the wrong time, you'll leave yourself open. It kind of uses that modern style of Assassin's Creed style to it, I will say. But then obviously, I'll be honest, it takes a while to get used to the combat because the tools now are done in a separate spot. So it's not like you have to select your tools. In this one, like the rope dart, if you want to use it in combat, you press like right trigger and B. If you use quick shot, it's right trigger and R, Y, and so forth. You know, you've got the kick and the sweep and that. So the combat takes a little bit getting used to, but it uses the modern style combat. So if you're hoping that it's going to have the older style combat, it doesn't. It takes a bit getting used to, but I think the combat is fun. It's not overbearing. It's not Souls-like combat, thank God. That was one of the reasons I wasn't a massive fan of Valhalla, because they tried to do Souls combat with the stamina and the dodging and the blocking. This one, I feel like it plays more like Assassin's Creed Odyssey in its combat than any other Assassin's Creed game, at least in my experience. I never played Mirage, so I'm glad. So I am glad about that. I will say, you know, the naval combat is a massive improvement coming off of Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, which the naval combat in that game was not that great, in my opinion. This game, you no longer have to select each individual weapon. You know, wherever you're aiming with your camera, that's what weapon you choose. So if you aiming left or right, it will automatically use the broadside cannons. If you press the right trigger without aiming, it will do the fire shot. If you're aiming forward, it will do the chain shot. If you aim backwards, it will drop out the fire bombs, or the barrels, if you will. And then if you aim, you've got the mortar strike as well, and then RB does the swivel guns, which automatically locks on. So I will say the naval combat is a massive improvement, and obviously you need that in a pirate game, right? You need to have good naval combat. You know, you can't have a pirate video game with shit naval combat, although there probably is some shit ones out there. So I will say naval combat is a massive improvement. I'm enjoying it. I hardly did any of the naval stuff in Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. I probably did maybe one or two of the missions and never went back to the naval combat. But this one thing, the map is huge yet again. I love the fact that you can now dive underwater. You know, there's exploration underwater. It's beautiful. I'm not really a massive fan of underwater segments in video games, but I will say in this game, it's done pretty well. It's beautiful. There's a lot of exploration in this game. I don't feel like this game, you know, like I said, it uses Valhalla's sort of thing with the sparkle system, instead of like all like the mini loot chests and stuff. When you press the left trigger, you can observe, and then it will sparkle like a little gold ping, or a white thing will sparkle, and that will obviously show where an item is. But obviously main chests and songs and collectibles, if you will, that you need to 100% each area do show up on the map. So that is a nice plus. The HUD is very useful. There's a lot of accessibility options as well in the game. So you can really fine tune the game if you're new to the series, or if you want a much harder challenge. You can turn on things like unlimited breath underwater if you're not a massive fan of underwater segments. You can turn on auto loot, so if you loot one thing, it will loot everything in the area. There's a lot of accessibility options available for people that maybe want a bit of a more story-driven game, and there's different difficulty options which weren't available, I don't believe, in the original game. I'm pretty sure, because Assassin's Creed 3, I don't remastered didn't have a difficulty, I don't think. I will say I've encountered a few glitches and bugs, but it is day one. I don't normally buy games day one, and I didn't really buy this game. I had Ubisoft Plus. Well, it said it run out for some reason, because it was really strange. I was trying to pre-install it last night. I managed to install it on my tablet to the Xbox, and then I went to look to see if it was downloaded. It didn't work, but you can do it. And then when I went to download it for Ubisoft Plus, it said resubscribe to Ubisoft Plus, even though I had Ubisoft Plus. But I think the subscription run out, because when I went on my account it said no subscription. So I don't know what happened, but I've managed to get it working. And the good thing about Ubisoft Plus Premium is you do get the deluxe edition. The deluxe edition comes with 2 cosmetic packs. There is some kind of pay to win. You get 2 outfits, the legendary assassin outfit and the Blackbeard outfit, as well as the legendary gold and black accessory pack for your ship, which is nice. There's a lot of customization. I will say some of the costumes are pretty cool. The 2 weapons that it gives you, the swords and the pistols, are a little bit OP, kind of pay to win there, if you will. But that's the case with many Ubisoft games. There is, what's kind of cool actually is it uses a hub now. So when a bit like Call of Duty, because I know Call of Duty does the same thing, it has a hub now. So the main menu is not a main menu. It will show all of the recent Assassin's Creed games. So it will show, you can boot them from the menu, which is kind of cool. So I have Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, Black Flag Resynched, and Shadows. It won't have the old, and I think Mirage as well. It doesn't have anything before Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So anything old Syndicate, all of that is not included on that hub. There is like live service events, I believe, and there's some like Ubisoft Connect features. You can activate certain things that are in Shadows into this game as well. You can get obviously in-game currency, which I believe transfers from Shadows and Black Flag, so you can use those in-game currencies to get special items and customizations and packs and outfits and things. So I think there will be a live service to this game. They might change every so often. It has like live service missions, side missions and things to do and challenges. Going back to the glitches I've encountered, I encountered a loading glitch. When I fast travelled from an island on the mini boat to my main boat, it was just stuck in a loading screen, but I could hear my character moving about in the background, but it was stuck in the loading screen. I went back to the main menu, loaded back up, worked, and then the second time it happened, I was in the ship and I went into the cabin, and same thing happened, but then the game almost soft locked me. Luckily, I was able. It soft locked. It did the same thing. The last load save file was of me in the cabin, and every time I opened the cabin to go onto the ship, it was doing the same thing. But luckily, a simple reset of the game, closing the game and booting it back up, fixed that, thank God. There was a couple of weird glitches. One happened when I was trying to open a box. my character was just walking in place against a tent and couldn't figure out how to get to it. Again, a simple fast travel fixed that one. And there was a bug in one of the missions where it's called where you have to follow the ship to find the sugar cane. For some reason, the ship wasn't sailing at all. Same thing happened. It kept loading the file, and the ship I had to follow wasn't moving. But luckily, I had a previous save file that was only about 5 minutes before. Redid the mission. I can't find any options to restart mission. I couldn't find an option to restart mission. All in all, I will say my first impressions of Assassin's Creed Black Flag Day 1 are pretty good. Like I said, a few glitches here and there. A simple reset seems to have fixed those. I have heard there's also another glitch that if you start a Templar hunt and if you don't actually finish the Templar hunt and go to do one of the main missions, it will also soft lock you out. So just be warning of that. Apparently Ubisoft are aware of this and are trying to fix the glitch. I haven't had that happen yet, so I don't know when you get your first Templar hunt. All in all, I would probably say my first impressions of Black Flag are pretty good. I think it is an improvement over the original. Those new combat mechanics take a little bit of getting used to, but I still think it's fun. It feels like a different game. I'll be honest, do you need to play the original to enjoy this one? No. If you've never played the original, I would probably say get this one because it is much more fine-tuned than the original. There's a few issues with the original that probably will frustrate you than this one. So I will say that this one is probably the better of the two games. If you want to play them both, you can. But I'll be honest, I would probably say this is the better version. And it's very rare that sometimes these remakes and remasters often get better than the original. You know, some people swear by the original. And if you swear by the original Black Flag, all the more power to you. Like I said, it's been a long time since I played the original Black Flag. So I don't have any thing. But the first few hours are very, very similar to what I remember. So all in all, I would probably say my first impressions are pretty good. I would probably say at the moment I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Those glitches are a little bit annoying. The combat takes a little bit of getting used to. But I would say it's a very, very good game. And coming off of Dragon Age Inquisition, which was another game I put a lot of time into, this is a game that I think you can put a lot of time into as well. Because the map is so huge and there's so many different mini islands and side stuff you can do. You'll probably lose a lot of time in this game, but I still believe Odyssey is the biggest of the games. I think maybe Odyssey has got the second biggest map, I think, and Valhalla had the most content, I believe, hours. But anyway, as I say, I'm 5 hours in. I'm enjoying it. I'll probably play some more tomorrow. Would I have brought this day 1 for 60 quid for the deluxe edition? Honestly, probably not. I probably would have waited for it to go on sale. Do I think it's worth £60 or £50 for the standard edition? You could probably go without the deluxe content, honestly, because you can buy them individually if you want them and just go for certain packs. But, you know, do I think it's worth 60 quid? I think it's a fair price for what you're getting, but you know, I still think £50 isn't too bad. Maybe if you're really, really tight on a budget, I would probably recommend waiting for a little bit, or just get Ubisoft Plus, because it's only £15. You could just get yourself a month's worth of Ubisoft Plus, and then, you know, you could probably play this game in an entire month if you wanted to, save yourself some money. But anyway, as I said, I thought I'd do a little first impressions review on this because it's very rare that I play a game day 1. Got to do something to play until November, right? Like I said, I really enjoyed Dragon Age Inquisition. I might do an individual review on that at some point. I don't know. I probably will do Velgard after I beat Black Flag, even though I've heard it's a downgrade. I haven't played the first and second game, but I believe the first and second game kind of take one after the other. Inquisition is kind of its own game. You know, the background lore is 1 and 2. 3 is kind of its own game, and Velgard is a complete continuation from 3. So, but then again, I might go back and play the first and second one at some point. You know, but I still don't think you need to play them in order unless you really care about the story. But like I said, big improvement. I gave it a thumbs up for now. I definitely am enjoying it. Still early doors in the game though, so maybe I'll come across some stuff later on that pisses me off. We'll see. But with the new improvements and the better naval combat and everything else, I don't know. But anyway guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, and of course comment below, let me know, have you picked up Black Flag Resynched and what your experiences are with it. And of course, take care and subscribe if you haven't already.